Let's talk about contemporary modern operas. That was not necessary. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, welcome. I often hear people say that opera is an anachronistic art form with antiquated stories which have nothing to do with our lives. And even if you would agree with this premise, and I don't, well, there is an alternative for you out there. Something great and modern called contemporary opera, with stories often taken directly from our times. There is even a football opera or soccer opera if you're watching in the US. Come on guys, really. So there is much to choose from, but contemporary opera has a bad rap. But why exactly is that? It might have to do with the fact that it does not always have melodies we can hum along with the experimental use of musical elements, and that contemporary classical music often requires a certain level of intellectual engagement.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
And some listeners may prefer music that offers more, let's say, immediate emotional gratification. And who amongst us, if we are honest, doesn't like some immediate emotional gratification from time to time? I do. With other words, modern music is not always easy to consume. I would compare modern classical music with a foreign language. Listen to this.
Сайн бацгаана залуусаа. Энэ өдрийн мэндийг хүргэе. Бид яг одоо Улаанбаатар хотоос мэдчилж байна. Миний нэрийг Айка гэдэг. Өнөөдрийн шинэ
Hard to understand, huh? If you're not a Mongolian, that is. But if you take your time and learn just a little bit about this language, you probably will appreciate its beauty. I would postulate the same goes for modern music. There can be immense beauty and gratification in dissonant accords, in seemingly unnatural rhythms, or in the surprising new and different ways a piano is played, for example. But enough. You got my point, of course. Let's rather listen to some modern opera. The wonderful Nixon in China by John Adams, composed on the brilliant libretto by Alice Goodman. Nixon in China is a great example of so-called minimal music. If you want to know more about minimal music, there is a link in the description below, where you can also find an excellent article about all the political, philosophical and funny ideas behind this opera. But minimal music in 2 words, typical features include repetitive pattern, steady drones, consonant harmony and reiteration of... Oh, Jesus. I'm boring myself here, sorry. I will show you some clips from a performance in Vienna from 1997, and I dare to say that you will like it, probably. This opera is about Richard Nixon's visit in China in 1972, the first visit ever of an American president in modern post-1949 communist China. The opera starts with the arrival of the American delegation on an airfield near Beijing, and we will witness the approach and landing of Nixon's Air Force One. Exciting stuff. This is the Chinese delegation waiting for the American plane to land, and they will scan the sky for Air Force One now. Well, that's a pretty dramatic and exciting start, wouldn't you agree? And masterfully done how the music calms down right before Nixon is disembarking the plane. A very good start. In this next scene, we join the Nixons at a state dinner given in their honor. Chou, En-lai and Nixon are giving speeches. And I don't know about you, but to me, those kind of speeches don't seem to be the right kind of material for thrilling arias. In this case, though, well, let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, we have begun
The contrast between the calm, repetitive patterns the orchestra is playing during Chou En-lai's aria and the beautiful and melodious lines Chou En-lai is singing. His melody floats like a hovercraft over this carpet the orchestra provides. One can hear that he is in peace with himself. In stark contrast to Chou En-lai's aria, the orchestra during Nixon's aria, you will hear it in a second, is very agitated, illustrating once more the turmoil in Nixon's brain. So much is depending on this state visit that he seems to be in a permanent fight or flight mode. We have to keep in mind that the Watergate affair is in full swing at the time of his visit in China, and Adams makes us hear this constant insecurity and pressure throughout the orchestra.
Mr. President, distinguished guests, I have attended many feasts, but never have I so enjoyed a dinner. Never have I so enjoyed a dinner, nor have I played better music than I love outside America. Why, what we do can change the world. We have at times been enemies. We still have differences, for God's love. But let us, in these next 5 days, start a long march on your highways, in different lanes but parallel, and heading for a single goal. The world watches and listens. We must seize the hour. 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 And seize the day.
It's not an easy task to write for the human voice in general. And on top of that, to make something as dull as a political speech thrilling? Whew, I think we can agree that Adams did just that. Plus, the music written for the chorus is simply masterful. It's part of a First Lady's job description on foreign trips to go on sightseeing tours, and that's what Pat Nixon is doing in the next scene. She's visiting a glass manufacturer, a pig farm, a hospital, and is greeting local kids.
Here are some children having fun. The children of the USA all say hello. I used to be a teacher many years ago, and now I'm here to learn from you.
what a beautiful and tender music Adams has written for Nixon here. I love it. And the positive and open-minded way in which Pat Nixon was interacting with the Chinese people was a huge factor in this state visit's success. And here we see her being impressed by the Chinese philosophy at that time of back to the basics. And once more, I'm deeply impressed by John Adams' talent to write for the human voice. The lines he wrote for Pat Nixon here are tender and true, even when he is making a bit of fun of Pat Nixon's naivete throughout the opera. I still got the impression that he and Goodman did like her in the end. In this last clip I will show you here, the Nixons are attending a theater performance written and directed by Madame Mao herself. It's a crude mixture between classical opera, Chinese opera, ballet and political propaganda. The twist in this scene, Pat Nixon gets confused and seems not to be able to differentiate between what's happening on the stage and reality, and gets more and more sucked into the drama's action. This is very funny. This will be the longest video I will show you, and I plan to let it run uninterrupted so you can enjoy not only the action but the variety of musical styles John Adams incorporated in this scene.
Just a play. He's gonna have to watch. He'll see. Easy to hard. With her to death.
It's terrible! I hate you both! Make them stop! Make them stop! Make them stop!
You might as well.
Thank God you came! Just look at this! Poor thing! It's simply barbarous! Whipping to death, he said. I'd like to give his goddamn whip a crack. Oh, Dick, you're sobbing!
This scene ends with the most famous piece of this opera, Madame Mao's aria, I am the wife of Mao Tse-tung, which can be heard as a solo piece in concerts quite often.
Give me that gun. Give me that gun. Give me that gun.
Alright, what do you think? Exciting, isn't it? I hope this video was not too long, but I wanted to give you as much input as possible so you would be able to form an opinion about Nixon in China, about minimal music in opera. And if I don't get too many angry comments, which happens from time to time, I would be happy to present to you more modern operas. Let me know in the comments below if you are interested in that. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, I really appreciate it. And if you feel a burning desire to like this video, or even subscribe this channel? Oh, well, I wouldn't mind that at all. And I'm hoping to see you again next time. Until then, please take care. Ciao.